Hello and welcome back to the Everything Football channel. Today we'll be discussing who's going to win in the race for top 4 this season. Currently there are 4 main contenders, those being Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United and Arsenal, who all stand with a good chance of securing Champions League football for next season and getting into the top 4. Today we'll be having an in-depth look at each of those teams and why they could and could not be getting into the top 4, and we'll have a look at the fixtures that are ahead for these teams going into the end of the season. First off, we'll start in third place with Tottenham, who after 29 games have amassed a total of 61 points, sitting 4 points clear of Arsenal in fifth. Tottenham have fallen off a bit of a cliff in the last week, being 9 points clear of Arsenal and now only being 4 points clear of Arsenal and completely blowing their chances in the title race. With poor losses to Chelsea and Burnley, and the rather lacklustre North London derby in which Spurs scraped to a 1-1 draw, it's a bit bleak for Tottenham fans right now. However, it shouldn't be all doom and gloom, with the club getting back key players such as Harry Kane and soon enough Dele Alli, who will surely help in the charge for top 4. Last night, Tottenham played out a 1-1 draw with Arsenal. They created a few chances and probably should have scored a few more if it wasn't due to a world-class save from Bernd Leno and a very good defensive performance from Arsenal, which I'm going to talk about later. However, Tottenham at points did look out of it. They didn't press as intensely as they probably should have in a game where they were 1-0 down and it was such an important game, but I think a point was good for them. If they had lost that game, it would have been very different where they stood right now, and they probably would have lost even more confidence and you could see them really slipping up. But instead they can try and build on this, and they can hopefully, for Tottenham fans, push back up, get performances going the right way for them and continuing their surge on to top 4. I personally fully expect Tottenham to get top 4. I think they have a good class of players, and I think that overall you're looking at a team who've played together under the same manager for longer than the other teams, and I can just see Tottenham getting knocked out the Champions League before Arsenal and Chelsea get knocked out the Europa League, which I think is a key factor which will help them to secure Champions League football. I just think overall Tottenham are experienced in doing that, and I think that they just have the quality to be able to pull through and secure Champions League football at the end of the season. Next up in fourth place is Man United, who after 29 games have picked up 58 points. It's been a remarkable turnaround for Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as I talked about in my United Manager video, which you can check out on the channel. United have been excellent, having been 11 points off top 4, they now sit 4th, but there's only a point gap between them and Arsenal, so it isn't comfortable. However, I think with the form that United are playing in, United fans shouldn't be scared. If I was a United fan, I would not be scared going into any game at all, and they do have a couple of difficult games coming up, but I just wouldn't be scared. I think United right now have the confidence and the abilities to go and play anyone off the pitch and get a result anywhere, whether that be a draw where necessary or a win. And I think by the end of the season you will see United sitting in 4th place. I just think that right now confidence is key, and I think Tottenham are losing confidence. Chelsea are in a weird place right now with the whole Kepa situation where they're not very confident, and Arsenal are up and down, and I think if United can continue with this confidence, it'll definitely help in securing top 4 for them. Something that's also been key for United and is going to be key in securing top 4 is their away form. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they've won 8 out of 8 away games, and I think this is essential. If United can go away and pick up the points, then they'll be doing very well come the end of the season, as these away games are the ones that are going to be difficult. United now just need to look at turning Old Trafford into a bit more of a fortress, like what we saw in the Fergie days. It hasn't really been like that since then, and if United can turn Old Trafford into a fortress again, I believe that they'll have a really good case for qualifying for the Champions League. In 5th place sits Arsenal, who after 29 games have picked up 57 points, and 1 point off the top 4 and sit 4 points clear of Chelsea. For Arsenal, it's been a rather up and down season, having that 20-game unbeaten run at the start of the season. However, at points there's been up and down performances, and Arsenal are still yet to keep a clean sheet away from home, which is a rather worrying statistic when you look at the fact that Fulham have kept more clean sheets than them away from home. However, yesterday Arsenal were rather unlucky not to keep a clean sheet in the North London derby. I thought from watching the game that they defended outstandingly. Players like Socrates and Monreal were excellent. And if Arsenal can go to different places, especially away from home, and put in those type of performances, I think that Arsenal are in with a shout of making top four. I thought that Emery got his team selection spot on yesterday. He got his tactics spot on, and I think if Arsenal can go and do that anywhere, then they are in with a shout. Something that could be worrying though for Arsenal fans is the Europa League. I see the Europa League for Arsenal as a viable way to pick up silverware this season and to qualify for the Champions League. And I have a feeling that Arsenal will progress deep in the Europa League, which will not help in the push for top four. It'll mean that Emery needs to rotate more, and it'll mean that players are more tired. And if Arsenal put the Europa League at the forefront of what they're doing this season, what they want to achieve, then I could see them slipping away from the top four, especially if Tottenham turn around the performances and Man United continue in the same way that they currently have. Finally, in sixth place sit Chelsea, who have 2 games in hand on the rest and are with 53 points. If they win both of their game in hand, then they'll overtake United and move up into 4th place. For Chelsea, it's been again a bit of an up and down season, adjusting to Sarri ball, which many fans have been annoyed with and disapproving of, and I feel like it's the tactical inflexibility of Maurizio Sarri that is going to cost Chelsea top 4. In certain games, Chelsea just haven't been good enough, and when teams go and put a player to man mark Jorginho, Chelsea just haven't had anything. I feel that Chelsea players have been poor this season, and they've just not bought into the manager's philosophy. And while of recent, they beat Tottenham 2-0, I feel like that's just off the back of this whole Kef thing. The Chelsea players have been a bit more united, but eventually it's going to slip away, and when one poor result comes, it'll go back to the same question of, is Sarri the right man? And personally, I don't think that this season he has been. I just don't know whether Chelsea should sack him or give him more time. That's a completely different question for a different video. But Chelsea, they're just up and down. And similarly to Arsenal, the Europa League is now the only chance for them to get their hands on silverware. So it's whether do they focus on getting top 4 or do they focus on the Europa League. And if they do focus on the Europa League, like Arsenal, I can see it hindering the push for top 4. And just overall, it'll make the players more tired. It'll mean they have to rotate more. And unlike Arsenal, I don't think the rotation options are as good. Meaning that, they'll be weaker in games. And you've seen performances such as the 4-0 against Bournemouth. That could easily happen again, which it'll just derail the push for top 4. So I think that Chelsea have a shot of getting into top 4, but it's probably out of the 4 teams, I'd say Chelsea are in the weakest position to make the push for top 4 as of right now. Chelsea's away form has also been rather worrying, losing 3 on the bounce currently with an aggregate score of 12-0. Conceding this much away from home and losing this much away from home certainly won't help when you have a team like United who have won 8 on the bounce away from home. It's points that Chelsea are dropping that they really shouldn't be and really need not to be dropping, and they're conceding a lot. So Chelsea will be looking to put an end to this tonight against Fulham, and if they do so, then maybe you could look at turning around. But I think right now the players just haven't bought into Sarri ball. The tactics just aren't good enough, and I think partially it's down to Sarri just being so inflexible. I think you do need a bit of a change, like we saw with Conte when he switched up from a 4 at the back to a 3 at the back, which saw Chelsea's title push reignited, and the change in formation helped them to eventually secure the title. Under Sarri, we've not seen anything of the sort. He's been reluctant to change it, and when teams have discovered that you can just man-mark Jorginho out the game and close down Chelsea's game, then they just lose games, and it's very poor. But I don't know, I just can't see Chelsea securing top 4 at this moment in time. However, things could change if they win a couple on the bounce. They'd be in a much stronger position too. Anyway, having spoken about all 4 teams and their weaknesses and strengths, it's time to look at the fixtures. So here's the fixture list for each team coming into the end of the season. and the ones with black boxes around them are the games against the top 6. So these are the crunch games that are really going to decide who picks up top 4. So Tottenham, their games with Arsenal obviously having been played, they've got Liverpool and Man City left, and I can just see Tottenham losing both of those. However, every other game that Tottenham got is winnable, so I think that they will scrape top 4. Arsenal have only Man United left, having obviously drawn the Tottenham game, and I just think that as of right now, United will beat Arsenal. They did it in the FA Cup, and I can just see them doing it again. Arsenal do also have some other difficult games, such as the Palace game, such as the Wolves game, which could prove a bit difficult for them. However, it's a reasonably easy run-in for them. United, on paper, have the hardest run-in with Arsenal away, City at home, and Chelsea at home. So they have the biggest teams to play against, but to be honest, if I'm a Man United fan, I'm looking at those fixtures and saying, bring them on. I think that United have done jobs against Arsenal and Chelsea in the FA Cup, and there's no reason that they can't do that again. And against City, I'd be confident if I was a United fan. I mean, they held Liverpool to a 0-0 draw. Why can't they go one better and beat City at Old Trafford? They did it last season under Mourinho, so surely under Solskjaer they could do the same. And I just think overall, United, they have a decent run until the end of the season, with the last 2 games being relatively easy, Huddersfield and Cardiff, and just overall with the way that the team's playing right now, I think that they will secure top 4. And Chelsea have Liverpool away and Man United away. With both of those being away games, I can only see it ending with the 2 home teams winning, that being Liverpool and Man United, so Chelsea losing out on both of those. And with this Chelsea team, I could see a couple of upsets, maybe in the games such as Wolves, West Ham and Leicester, and Watford as well. All of those games are games that Chelsea, that I could just feel with tension building on them to get into the top 4, could just slip away from Chelsea at the time being. As of right now, my prediction for top 4 would be obviously the 2 teams up in first and second, City and Liverpool, and then picking up the last 2 spots, I'd have Tottenham and United, with Arsenal finishing in 5th and Chelsea in 6th. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to keep a watch in for my next video, in which I'll be discussing who's going to win the league. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe for more content, and bye.